Imagine owning a nice car, the kind that makes you feel successful every time you start the engine. But at the end of every month, reality hits. Between the payment, insurance, fuel, and maintenance, you're quietly spending $600 to $700 every single month. Now pause and think. What if that exact money was invested for just 5 years? Your future wealth could look completely different, yet most people never make that connection. They feel stuck, wondering how to reduce car expenses, how to free up cash, and how to actually build wealth, but they don't know where to start. Today, we're going to uncover how car debt silently delays your financial freedom and how redirecting that money can change your future. Most people don't see their car as a financial decision. They see it as a lifestyle upgrade, a necessity, or even a reward for working hard. And emotionally, that makes sense. Cars represent freedom, comfort, and status. But financially, a car, especially one bought with debt, is often one of the most underestimated wealth delays in modern life. The danger isn't obvious because the payment feels manageable. $600 here, $700 there, it blends into the rhythm of monthly bills. Over time, the number stops feeling big. It becomes normal. And that's exactly why it's powerful. Here's the part nobody talks about enough. Your car payment isn't just costing you money, it's costing you time. Financial freedom is not built by giant lottery wins or sudden income spikes. It's built by consistent cash flow that gets redirected toward assets. Every dollar that leaves your pocket has two possible futures. It can disappear into consumption, or it can multiply inside an investment. When you commit hundreds of dollars per month to a depreciating asset, you're not just spending, you're choosing a timeline where your wealth grows slower. Think about the psychology behind car ownership. The monthly payment is framed as affordability. Dealers rarely say, "This car costs you $40,000. They say, "That's just $650 a month." Your brain processes that as manageable. But the financial system doesn't think monthly. It thinks in compounding years. If $650 per month were invested instead, even modest growth could transform that stream into tens of thousands of dollars. Over 5 years, you're not just talking about saved cash, you're talking about momentum. And momentum is what separates people who feel stuck from people who feel ahead. The harsh truth is that most car loans are structured to feel painless while quietly extending your financial obligations. Interest stretches the timeline. Depreciation erodes value the moment you drive off the lot. So you're paying premium dollars for an asset that's mathematically guaranteed to decline. That doesn't mean cars are bad. It means debt-backed lifestyle inflation has consequences people don't calculate. When someone says they feel broke despite earning a decent income, hidden commitments like car debt are often part of the story. There's also a social pressure layer that amplifies the problem. Cars are visible signals. They broadcast success, stability, and taste. In a culture where appearance can feel tied to identity, it's easy to justify upgrading. The internal dialogue sounds reasonable. I work hard. I deserve something nice. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying your money. The issue appears when enjoyment today quietly mortgages opportunity tomorrow. Financial freedom isn't about denying comfort. It's about understanding trade-offs clearly. Now, imagine two parallel versions of the same person. Both earn the same income. One commits to a high car payment. The other chooses a reliable, lower-cost option and invests the difference monthly. At first, their lives look identical. Same job, same lifestyle, same routines. But after several years, their financial landscapes begin to diverge. One feels constant pressure, payments, bills, and limited flexibility. The other accumulates options. Investments grow. Emergency stress decreases. The difference isn't income, it's direction. What makes car debt particularly sneaky is how it compounds with other lifestyle expenses. Insurance increases with vehicle value. Maintenance costs scale with complexity. Fuel consumption adds up invisibly. These aren't isolated costs. They stack into a recurring financial drain that reduces your capacity to build assets.
Most people don't notice because the payments are spread out, but financially they create friction, and friction slows progress. Here's where the emotional realization starts to form. Financial freedom is less about earning more and more about redirecting what you already have. When people say they feel trapped, they're often describing a system where their income is pre-allocated to consumption before they even see it. Car debt becomes one of the largest anchors in that system. Not because cars are evil, but because unchecked payments steal flexibility, and flexibility is the foundation of opportunity. The goal isn't to shame anyone for owning a nice vehicle. The goal is awareness. When you understand the opportunity cost, you regain control over your decisions. You stop asking, "Can I afford the payment?" and start asking, "What future am I funding?" That single shift changes how you evaluate every major purchase. Instead of reacting emotionally, you begin designing financially. And that's the turning point most people never reach, not because they're incapable, but because nobody shows them the hidden math. Society normalizes debt as a standard path to lifestyle upgrades, but normalization doesn't equal optimization. When you step back and view your car payment as a delayed investment stream, the conversation changes entirely. You're no longer comparing vehicles, you're comparing timelines of financial freedom. By the end of this realization, a quiet question starts forming in your mind. What would happen if that money worked for me instead of leaving me? That's where transformation begins, because once you see the trade-off clearly, you can't unsee it. And awareness is the first real step toward building a future where your income serves your goals, not your liabilities.
The moment you understand that car debt isn't just a payment, it's a timeline decision, everything starts to look different. Financial freedom stops feeling like some distant fantasy and starts revealing itself as a series of everyday choices hiding in plain sight. And this is where most people experience their first real shift. Not because they suddenly hate cars, but because they finally see the invisible trade-off between present comfort and future control. Here's the uncomfortable realization. Most people aren't broke because they don't earn enough. They're stuck because too much of their income is committed before they ever get the chance to direct it. When your paycheck arrives already spoken for, rent, subscriptions, insurance, car payments, your financial life becomes reactive. You're surviving a structure instead of building one. And car debt often sits right in the middle of that structure, quietly absorbing the exact cash flow that could have built your escape plan. What makes this trap powerful is how normal it feels. Everyone around you is doing the same thing. Friends upgrade vehicles. Social media celebrates lifestyle milestones. Dealerships design entire experiences to make upgrading feel like progress. So your brain interprets the payment as a symbol of success, not a financial obligation. But the math doesn't care about symbolism. Every recurring payment is a vote for where your future energy goes. And here's where clarity replaces guilt. This isn't about judging past decisions, it's about reclaiming direction. Financial freedom is rarely destroyed by one catastrophic mistake. It's delayed by patterns, small commitments repeated consistently. Once you recognize that pattern, you gain the power to redirect it. Imagine for a moment that you're standing 5 years in the future. In one version of your life, the car payment never changed. Month after month, the money flowed out. Nothing dramatic happened, just steady consumption. In the other version, you made a deliberate adjustment. Maybe you refinanced, maybe you downsized, maybe you delayed upgrading. That freed cash was redirected into investments, savings, or asset-building systems. 5 years later, the difference isn't just numerical, it's emotional. One version feels constrained. The other feels lighter, more flexible, more in control. That emotional contrast is the true currency of financial freedom. It's not about luxury, it's about options. When your income isn't locked into high fixed payments, you gain room to breathe. Emergencies become inconveniences instead of disasters. Opportunities become accessible instead of stressful.
You stop living paycheck to paycheck psychologically, even if your income hasn't changed. Now let's talk about the solution, not as a rigid formula, but as a mindset shift that creates leverage. The first shift is learning to evaluate purchases through opportunity cost instead of affordability. Most people ask, can I make this payment? Financially aware people ask, what is this payment replacing? That single question forces your brain to compare timelines. It turns impulse into intention. Suddenly, the car isn't just transportation, it's a decision about your future flexibility. The second shift is redefining status. True financial strength isn't visible in a parking lot, it's visible in your margin, the gap between what you earn and what you owe. When you prioritize margin, you create space for investing, saving, and strategic decisions. Ironically, the people who look the most financially relaxed often aren't driving the newest cars. They're driving their timeline toward independence. The third shift is automation. Redirecting freed-up car expenses into investments removes friction. When money automatically flows towards assets, progress stops depending on daily discipline. It becomes structural. That's where compounding starts doing the heavy lifting. Over time, consistent automation turns small redirections into meaningful wealth acceleration. And this is the part most people underestimate. Momentum is emotional. Watching your savings grow creates a feedback loop. Confidence increases, anxiety decreases, decision-making becomes clearer. You're no longer reacting to bills, you're steering your finances. That psychological shift is often more powerful than the money itself. There's also a deeper realization hiding underneath all of this. Cars are tools. They should serve your life, not dominate your financial capacity. When a tool begins controlling your options, it stops being helpful and starts becoming a liability. The goal isn't deprivation, it's alignment. Choosing a vehicle that fits your goals allows you to enjoy transportation without sacrificing long-term growth. Some people fear that reducing car expenses means giving up enjoyment. In reality, it often produces the opposite effect. Financial breathing room reduces stress. Reduced stress improves decision-making. Better decisions compound into better outcomes. Over time, you gain the freedom to choose upgrades from strength instead of pressure. And that's where financial freedom becomes tangible. It's not a lottery moment, it's the gradual accumulation of smart redirections. Every month you choose investment over unnecessary obligation, you're quietly accelerating your timeline. You're buying flexibility. You're purchasing time, and time is the one asset nobody can replenish. By now, the original question has evolved. It's no longer, how do I afford this car? It becomes, what future am I building with my income? That shift transforms your relationship with money. Spending becomes intentional, investing becomes natural, debt becomes a conscious choice instead of an automatic default. When viewers reach this realization, they often feel a mix of surprise and empowerment. Surprise because the math was hiding in plain sight. Empowerment because the solution isn't complicated. It doesn't require doubling your income or mastering exotic investments. It starts with redirecting existing cash flow towards growth. And here's the most important takeaway. Financial freedom isn't built by dramatic sacrifices. It's built by consistent alignment. Every payment you reduce, every dollar you redirect, every decision you evaluate through opportunity cost moves you closer to control. Over years, that alignment compounds into stability, confidence, and choice. So when you look at your car or any major expense, you're not just seeing a purchase anymore, you're seeing a fork in the road. One path prioritizes immediate comfort at the expense of future flexibility. The other balances enjoyment with growth. Neither is inherently wrong, but only one accelerates your timeline towards freedom. And once you truly understand that, your decisions stop being automatic. They become intentional. That's the real turning point. Not because your income changed, but because your direction did. Financial freedom doesn't arrive overnight. It arrives quietly, month by month, through choices that favor momentum over appearance. And when you redirect even a single large payment towards your future, you're not just saving money, you're reclaiming time. That's the hidden power of this realization. And once you see it, every dollar becomes a tool.
working either for your present image or your future independence. The choice, finally, is yours.